Hello everyone, it's very good to see you. Welcome back. Today I'd like to talk about this game, Dredge, a 2023 release which was developed by Black Salt Games and published by Team 17. Team 17 is known for developing the Worm series. They also worked on Overcooked 2 and are a widespread indie publisher. This game came out pretty recently, and I was able to pick up a PAL version of the game. And this is the deluxe edition. So before we talk too much about it, let's take a look at the packaging here. I mean, right off the bat, a deluxe edition with all the logos and things, a little busy on the front, but that's okay. It's quite met with a slight bit of minimalism on the back side, which just talks about some things you're going to do. You're going to explore exotic regions. Ooh, wow. You're going to upgrade your equipment. All right, you're selling me on this one, and you're going to unlock eldritch powers. I do like that quite a bit. So let's talk a little bit about it after we pop open the case here. And as you can see, we have the CD, as you would imagine, and a couple extra little goodies that you get with the deluxe edition. So the first thing you're getting here is a nice little terms and conditions, I guess. And then there's the Blackstone Key DLC. I don't think I used the code, so do excuse me for covering that up. And then there's also a really nice art book that comes in here, The Art of Dredge. And I actually quite enjoyed looking through this because I was a fan of the art style here in the game, and you can get just a sense of that by looking at some of the character portraits in here. A style of which almost reminds me of, there's like this oil smear kind of style to it. I'm not an artist, so please excuse me for any lacking description there. But they almost kind of remind me of maybe some characters you would see in like Disco Elysium, for instance. So, but yeah, putting that aside, let's see what else we got. We also got a little poster, little tiny poster for Dredge, which I quite like this art here. It's honestly, let's look at the quality, a little low res, but it's fine. At least it's something included. I didn't pay extra for it necessarily. And then you get a soundtrack as well. Cool. And then you get some little stickers, which everyone loves stickers, right? So you get a lot of stuff in this box, and you don't pay anything extra for much of it. Actually, I don't know as well if this game is easy nowadays to get your hands on, but I had to purchase the PAL version because I couldn't find a version of the US instance, I guess. So I had to go online and buy the PAL version. But anyway, I'll put this up on the shelf and let's talk a little bit about the game. So yeah, Dredge. What is Dredge? Dredge is again, 2023, so pretty recent. It's a fishing RPG. It's probably the best way I can describe it, with some aspects of horror and Lovecraftian spookiness kind of involved. The game follows a fisherman kind of adventuring out into this open world archipelago. And as you're fishing around, you will encounter increasingly disturbing creatures, and as you explore these archipelago islands, to discuss with the inhabitants certain goings-ons that you kind of have to solve along the way to catch some of the prized fish and get some of the best equipment. So the game was initially inspired just kind of looking at some of the developer commentary in its world design, particularly from games such as Papers, Please or Frostpunk, worlds that have very oppressive environments. And so they wanted to kind of replicate that here in Dredge with the archipelagos. Aside from that, there's not much known from a developer lens on this game. I would love to kind of learn more. But when the game released, it received overall positive reviews, and the game outsold the developers' expectations. So we're always happy to see an indie developer really doing their thing and getting some of that effort returned in the form of sales for their game. So let's talk a little bit about the gameplay, how the game works, and so on and so forth. So you basically are controlling a little fishing boat. And there is a day and night cycle. And this day and night cycle will push forward whenever the player is completing actions, whether that's piloting the boat somewhere or fishing for goods or so on and so forth. When you take these actions out in the open water, the game will advance. And so you're basically boating around. You're looking for visually bubbling areas and things that may indicate, oh, there's a fish here, or there is some salvage or something I can bring up. And when you interact with these, you'll complete a little mini game where you're trying to land objects into a certain highlighted area that will allow you to fish it up more and more. And if you stay out too late fishing around, you will be rewarded, yes, with some more valuable and creepy looking fishies, but it's also going to risk your panic meter building. And as the player's panic meter will build, it's going to create visually hallucinated hazards, or maybe even evil sea creatures that'll come out and damage your boat as you're making your way back to the local settlement, so you can rest and you can advance the game back to the daytime and so on and so forth. So, all of these things will take you back to these settlements, and you'll use the settlements as places to sell your fish, upgrade equipment, buy provisionals and so on and so forth, so that you can kind of make your way back onto the waters. And that's the core gameplay loop. And there are some fun things to the game that I particularly like that maybe some players won't. Your inventory space starts and maintains a rather small amount of things you can carry. And so between the time advancing and your inventory, there's a lot of management aspects to this game. And I do like management aspects within a game. And so I personally found these to be pretty fun. And it made the game really easy to just kind of pop on a podcast and just kind of play it in the background and enjoy the quiet nature of this fishing around stuff. So I will say that once you begin to figure out what to do, what not to do, when to go somewhere, when not, and you begin to upgrade your boat quite a bit, many of the hazards and many of the challenging parts of this game are just going to kind of disappear once you figure it out pretty quickly. And then from there, the game kind of plateaus in its difficulty. It doesn't maintain a progressively developing level of danger or level of challenge. You will go into these various little core islands within the archipelagos where there will be a key mysterious fish or dangerous thing happening. But oftentimes once you've had them kind of figured out, you can move on without too much challenge presented. So I did find that to be pretty fun, and those fish do get kind of Lovecraftian. And the gameplay is pretty satisfying as well, just overall in terms of how the boat controls and how it feels to like go out and kind of just upgrade your ship along the way. And so I did enjoy that. The gameplay was pretty engaging and rather easygoing, which is something that I really needed when I began playing Dredge. So from a plot perspective, the core story is that there is this weird land of creepy creatures and natural phenomena occurring, and people don't really know why, and it's kind of becoming a problem for the local communities. And that's why as a fisherman you're so valued, because you're the one who's really adventuring out on the water, bringing food back and so on and so forth. And along those journeys you're going to encounter somebody named the Collector, and he's looking for relics hidden within these ruins all across the archipelago. And in the Collector's possession is this Book of the Deep. So as you bring him relics, he's going to grant you essentially supernatural powers that will allow you to better traverse the world. So there are things like your boat speeds up really fast, or you can teleport to a specific location, or you can go invisible so that the angriest of the creatures that are going to attack you won't become a problem for a momentary period of time. And so these are kind of fun as you get them, and once you unlock a couple, as I mentioned, a lot of the challenge of some of the areas is going to melt away a bit. So that's, so-so. And when I originally picked this game up, I was really here for the open world aspects, and so I spent a lot of the time exploring around and maxing my boat before I started looking at any of the story progression parts of the game, right? So by the time I got around to doing the story, I had totally missed a lot of what was going on. And so then I significantly progressed through the story quickly, because now I wasn't really spending time exploring and looking for fish in regions. I was just grinding through mission to get to the very end of the game. And so that was my experience. The story was kind of on the back end, and honestly the ending was kind of curt, I guess, and short. And so I would have wished for a little bit more out of that, but overall it serves its purpose and just kind of giving players a reason to adventure out and unlock some of the biggest secrets of this archipelago, for instance. So the plot was okay, I thought. And from a sound lens, the game doesn't really have voice acting, but I think that's okay, because bad voice acting can really inhibit a world's environment and consistent atmosphere. And the atmosphere is very consistent, and the sound definitely complements that in Dredge. The music and sound effects are really great and really do conjure up this seafaring, adventure-esque spirit that I think the game really wants to set. You know, you have this accordion music, or birds and creatures are chirping, and as you're sailing across the waters, and sometimes there will be the dead quiet hum of just your engine running. And I did really like a lot of these variances in the atmosphere building, and they really did create an environment of, here's the daytime, here's the nighttime, this is why they're different, and why you should also feel different about traversing them and being here in the world. And so that was a lot of fun. And as I mentioned, I did, for many parts of the game, kind of just throw on some videos and podcasts in the background so that I could listen to them as I went on. So surely I missed some aspects of that. But on the nights where I just, popped my headphones on, connected them to my controller, and just played the game, I was really in love with the atmosphere when I needed that specifically. And so I will give kudos to the sound aspects of the game. And now let's talk about just visually, graphically, what this game is doing. So the game it's not really out here to blow you away with high fidelity graphics. It's going more for an art style akin to that of something like Wind Waker, kind of this cel-shaded, more cartoony look to the game, and I really did actually like that. The presentation was really good, and not only does this kind of cartoony 3D graphics model work, but it also works in line with a lot of the other art in the game, as I was showing you in the art book. This kind of more 2D cartoon imagination, kind of Lovecraftian look to the creatures, and this kind of smear pastel, which reminds me like Disco Elysium character portraits almost of the characters that you'll meet throughout the game as well. So another big aspect visually of the game is that there's a great use of fog in the game that's employed to continue to confuse the player's perspective. You go out into the night, sometimes the fog is so dense you can barely see an inch in front of your boat. And I just like those kind of things. They really do create a very visually interesting piece of art to look at as you're playing the game. And I did overall like what the developers did with Dredge's look and how it translated to the feel of playing the game. So nothing's going to blow you away here, but I think you will appreciate the art style as you play through the game. A couple other random things I wanted to call out. I mean, one of the things that really got me interested in picking this title up was people playing it saying, wow, it's so scary and this is creepy at night and there's things happening. But maybe it's just I'm desensitized as a gamer. I didn't really feel that so much. The game didn't really feel scary in like a Subnautica, like I am out in the world all by myself and this feels like a dangerous place kind of situation. When I needed to pick up items and I felt concerned about the safety of my boat, it was easy to make it there and back to a settlement that I could then rest up and continue on to the day or advance time to a more safe period. And so there were a lot of ways in which you could continue to make progress without really putting yourself in danger, even on the more just standard difficulties of the game, wherein you could even make it to where the sea creatures can do no damage at all to your boat. And so, I don't know, that felt kind of so-so. And even if you die, right, your boat gets completely damaged, there's no real repercussions for you. You just kind of end up back at your settlement. Maybe you lose the things that you had on your boat, or you have to repair your boat a little bit. But I do wish there was a heightened sense of danger there. I think part of that could have come into play with increasingly ramping up the challenge and difficulty in the final archipelagos, for instance. But overall, it doesn't really bring down the game's experience. there's different types of gaming experiences I'm looking for, and if this is one where I can pop on a podcast, I can hang out and relax at the end of the night and play for an hour or two. That's exactly what I would have wanted out of the experience, and that's exactly what I got. And so while those are things that I think could have been improved a little bit, they're not like damaging my perception of the gameplay or the game itself. So overall, from a performance lens as well, the game ran super smooth. I don't remember encountering a glitch or having an issue where my boat got stuck somewhere or so on and so forth. And so we can always add some kudos to the gaming experience through that as well. And so overall, just to summarize, I love indie games. I love supporting indie developers. So that's something you should definitely do. If you're interested in a game like Dredge, I think right off the bat, it is worth picking up and playing. The gameplay was pretty fun. The game's not super long. It feels good to play. There's enough to the gameplay loop that you continue to feel like you're progressing and making progress and upgrading your boat and so on and so forth. Though the difficulty itself does plateau at a certain point in the game, and it begins to lose some of its challenge. It has a story that will continue to push you along. It's maybe not going to blow you away, but it is going to do a little something for you at the end of the day, I think, right? And then, the final aspects I wanted to point out were from a sound lens. The game continues to build on its atmosphere through its sound, and it is really high quality and nice and engaging to the player. And the game looks nice. It looks nice, and it is fun to play. And so all those things considered, yes, again, worth picking up. I really enjoyed Dredge, and I'd love to see how you felt about the game. Did you play Dredge? What was your experience with it? All those questions and more come to mind. So please share your thoughts and feelings, and would love to hear those. And if you liked the video, please like the video and subscribe. Would love to have you around for the next one. All right, until then, as always, it's great to see you, and have a great rest of your weekend, everyone. Take care.